and we've got a bunch of poets from the class of 2025 here to read you poems. I'm not going to say a lot. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to be able to be here having these feelings with you. Yeah, I'm going to say all of their names, and then when they come up and read, they'll introduce the next poet. I know that we're in a COVID moment, but I hope you'll clap and let the writers know that you appreciate their work. It's really fantastic to have such a nice audience. And also, if you'd like to read at a future, whenever we feel like an event, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'm always looking for people to read. That's one of the ways that we make community here. And thanks to all of the elder poets for coming to see the freshman class read. I really mean that. It means a lot. Our first poet is, I'm going to say everyone's name and then I'll say the first poet. We're going to have Kristen Lee, Brett Seaton, Sophia DeGrands, Jenny Ham, Kevin Lee, Emily Majorano, Zelda Godsey Kellogg, and Celine Choi. So please help me welcome our first reader, Kristen Lee.
Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much to Professor Taransky for holding the event. I'll be reading 2 short poems tonight, so here we go. I forgot to title them, but I'll just go ahead with the first one. Okay. Growing up, my parents taught me millimeters, centimeters, kilometers. Here I learned inches, feet, miles, but you taught me something else. Between your house and mine, you said 35 boats length, give or take. And between your hometown and mine, what? A meridian or 2 away. I laugh and correct you every time, but these become real when you set out for more farces than I could count. One too many sights, and I thought. As I waited, I remember some poet once said that time is the longest distance between 2 places. When at last you rang, I saw the space between the 2 ends of the telephone shrink, until 7 hands long, less than a boat length, and suddenly all these distances were behind us. Thank you. And then the second one, I was reading this to someone, and they said it was like too sentimental. So the next one I have is pretty, I guess, a little bit more lighthearted. So yeah. Sometime I see, okay, no, that's wrong. Sorry. Our apartment has a little square window with a glossy pane and rose-colored blinds. From there, you can see me who sees him through a little square window. Across the street in a deep dark night, little square windows scattered a block. From there, you can see he who sees me through a little square window. And I perch on a little square window with a glossy pane and rose-colored blinds. From there, I can see you, lost in a sea of little people. Thank you. All right, next up we have Brett. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Brett. I've met some of you earlier today, but look forward to getting to know more of you. This is my first time speaking poetry in front of people, so really excited. Also super nervous, so we'll see how it goes. This first poem, so I'm doing 2 poems. The first one is about last night. Last night I dreamed that I would wake up old, really old, 30 or something. In the morning, I wake up and walk to the mirror to see the damage that's been done, tracing the lines on my forehead like I'm a fortune teller with a palm in my hand. I know this life is going to go fast, so I try not to frown or smile or move my face at all, so the past stays in the past, so that wrinkles stay off for just a few more years. Age is when seasons change faster than I do, and no one says anything about my height anymore. When I no longer think of new things, but just recycle stories I told to other people at other times, and sometimes I even tell the same people the same things. Sometimes I tell the same people the same things. Did I mention that? From this, I'm reminded to fear death when it is not yet dead, and that being awake is brain damage. So tonight, I will dream that sleep heals all wounds, but when I wake, I know that every morning I need a little bigger cup of lies to get my day started. Every morning I sigh a little louder. Yes, every morning I sigh a little louder, because we were never intended to watch death on 5 years ago today albums on Snapchat. But I wouldn't trade my phone. No, I wouldn't trade my phone for a hero's death or a poetic verse. But here it goes. My heroes, they wait for me on the last page of this story I'm writing, and I know because I can hear their call in the well of sweat at the last little crease of my palm. Thank you. This next one is a poem about my dad. My dad calls me old fella. Not because he doesn't like my name, he was the one who named me, after George Brett, a baseball player, in case you didn't know. He thought, this guy's got a great batting average, let me name my newborn child after him. Yeah, that's my dad. Don't play baseball, by the way. He started calling me old fella because I'm the youngest sibling, and he thought it would make me feel like I was something I'm not. He thought it might save me from the confusion of youth and give me the confidence to be strong and mature. Old fella always dripped like honey from my father's mouth, like it was an apology, like a Band-Aid that could cover my eyes, my nose, and heal the red eyes and the bloody noses. So when we gathered at the kitchen table and my father told me he was leaving, I think he believed I was old enough to understand. Old fella, he said. We'll get through this, he said. As if he wasn't a liar, as if he wouldn't call a sinking ship a submarine, I followed him and I learned to hate. I learned to fill empty lunch tables with ghosts that would smile and laugh at my jokes. I learned to let tears build up until they stream down my face in the shower, and I'm unsure if it's my tears or the water that pulls my knees to the floor and my fist into the shower curtain. I learned that solitude is a shattered mirror that breaks and breaks and breaks. Apples don't fall far from the tree, they say, but leaves in winter, they fly away and settle in a meadow. Leaves are brittle and they break, but it's still better than growing up in his shadow. And when he remarried a year later to a younger and prettier woman, I smiled. I told her I loved her. And my dad told himself he was happy now. We all pretend someday is today. We take a deep drink of ourselves, and we pretend the sun can stay forever. And when I left, my dad called me old fella. That's it.
Hey y'all, I am a little nervous, but excited to be here today. My name's Sophia. So I have 3 poems I'm reading today. The first one I wrote in quarantine over winter break. It's called Grounding. I read the clock backwards now that I've been here this long. My back hunches in a concave over my laptop screen as I trace the stars on my bedroom ceiling and try to discern the footsteps of my cat from the thump of the pulse on my wrist. I never turn the lamp off because I fear inconsistency. The salt glows in the corner. I make lists in my notebook of everyone I've ever wronged. I have dreams, I make things right, and when I awake at 4 p.m., my actions mesh with my sleep-drenched thinking. At night, I lay on the bed as my body becomes feverish. I clutch my comforter and try to remind myself of grounding things. Georgia, my jade plant, Sylvanesso, sunlight, my shoelaces, coffee, and spring. This next one is called Washroom. It's a little old, but I have not been writing a lot of poetry at Penn, so, hope to change that. My legs dangled over her fancy bidet, a holy space in a house wrecked with hospice grief. I didn't know toilets could be fun. She never left the lazy boy, knuckles locked to a pair of needles, in a poster grandma fashion. Pay attention. I watched the heap of yarn take a new shape, and my mind floated back to the bidet. You watching? An earnest nod as I focused on the purple string, my eyes locked to a washcloth I'd used through my teen years. Good. We spent 4 days in Lima, and I only met the backyard once. On the last day, a man in a white robe wiped his shoes on a doormat as old as me. Go get me some dandelions. My mother tossed me to the yard as the grown-ups swarmed to greet him. There weren't any dandelions out back, and it was real hot for April. I folded my body into a tiny heap and gazed back at the brick bungalow. I saw Nana through the windows, and she saw me, a second-grade mind, picking up clues that something was wrong. I'd never seen a priest inside someone's house, and I'd never met a toilet that could talk. This last one is called Bad Things Happen. I remember the way they lined traffic lights with a slick white oil. My phone service cut out as they spilled onto the streets. Figures erupted, bounding onto Broad. Wawa windows shattered under the force of golden brown Timberlands and dark green hoodies. Even the Canada Goose was no match for a city so triumphant. I remember trekking 4 miles downtown, stepping over bottles of 100 proof vodka and discarded Dunkin' Donuts cups, passing by shattered storefronts and obliterated pretzel shops. I joined the crowd that lined the streets to celebrate a game I hadn't even watched. I learned a few things. 1. When Broad Street is closed down, you know something big has happened. 2. Winning a game can bring people out in the worst of weather. And 3. That Philadelphia is often a channel of beautiful destruction, and beautiful destruction is something most outsiders will never understand. Thank you. Up next is Jenny.
Hi, I started writing poetry really late during quarantine actually. I just got really sad, I broke up with my ex, and it just all hit, and I turned to the classic poetry. So I just wrote a book. It's about me going through the process of recovery and paralleling that to like sunrise, like the sun rising again, after going through darkness and like the dawn, so stages. So I'm just gonna read a couple bits of that. And it's all kind of sappy, but like bear with me, honestly. So, can I be your Juliet? It's August. Midday tides clashing against Verona beaches. Your ocean eyes, sand-colored skin, golden laughter, and summer scent clouding the pure skies. In my sight, Romeo, why are you Romeo? Hand me the magic potion. Rid me of my Capulanness. You need Roma or Romualda. Montages, anyone but me. But can it be July again? Don't you understand? We are meant to be. And that is called A Midsummer Night's Dream. And my next poem is... Okay. So this is like the inspo for my book. It's just very short, Rupi Kaur style. And I'm just going to read it. So, I'm mastering the art of moving on from the sun, who rises every morning despite the darkness she faces at night. And here's another short one. Dare to go against the tide, baby, move alongside so I can sail the ocean blue. Say bye to your salty lips and endless eyes too. Let me explore the ends of the earth. I'll show you the ropes of my worth. I am the master of my own sail, the captain of my boat's tail. Let me seize the day and steer you your final way. And this is another short one. You're like the sun because even when the darkness overtook you, you chose to rise day after day. And I just found that just writing these short little bits of poetry it just would help me so much, just overcome anything. Like anything hard in life, I'll just write, and I just think that's so passionate. So yeah, that's... And Welk is next. Kevin, okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Kevin and my Chinese name is Li Wei Ke, but it's not important. So I'm very thankful for this opportunity because I didn't really write that much in English. I'm writing more in Chinese and not a good poet. But bear with me for a few seconds. It's not a long poem. So the name of the poem is called The Barbaric Poem, and it's written for those moments when you feel like you are a barbarian or like you are not that civilized in your life. So here it goes. Here comes the barbarian, walking in pathetically aligned procession, sleepy and slippery footstep, and dressed in tediously cheap black tuxedo, as requested. Here comes the barbarian, speaking with coarse, not delicate language, dripped with the smell of saliva, red soil, and fish by the sea, mumbling so raucously that every civilized civilian behind the cemented castle hears them, but no one listens. Here comes the barbarian, trudged, or they claimed, across the dune, probed and examined and scrutinized on a greasy conveyor belt, pending denial. Let them in, the king, the queen, or a presidential proclamation finally commands. Let there be barbarians whose names are written upside down, with the only exception of the famous few. Here enters the barbarian, baptized at the Golden Gate of Glory, and a fortunate believer until the 11th commandment, or yet another sweeping pandemic says otherwise. Prove your residency, barbarians. Fortune as As a starter, bring lots and lots of appointed, accepted, updated documents, or rely on your innate barbarism to face the spine-chilling creatures of the Seine. Beware, they have guns. Thus, we regret to inform you that you are not civilized yet, not until you commemorate our festival, consolidate our identity, and invest in organic, AAA, naturally flavored, non-GMO education. Don't forget to turn on auto delivery, so it never runs out. I mean, lifelong learning. When the snow falls and the fairies woos, one could not see them left, because now the barbarians speak the language of a camouflaging human in the search of a bale to moor the long-lost craft. Thank you. So the next speaker is Sophia. Oh, okay. Okay, it's Emily.
Hello. All of these poems that I have tonight, I just want to preface, I wanted to share poems that I had written since arriving at Penn, and just like in a time where poetry has not been as like disciplinary as it could be, like just getting used to college and just celebrating the times that we do find to write as like a freshman at Penn, and just like celebrating the miracle of it happening. So here we go. Oh. This first one is called Sonnet in Quotation Marks. I have not written a love poem in 6 months. That is half of a year. When did drinking ginger tea in a living room in July turn into New Year's Eve on a frozen Hudson? Not that love has not written to me. The mailbox has been coughing up letters like blood, spitting out promises in clots. At least that's what my stomach tells me. I don't know when the letters sent went from shelter to primal threat. Someone's been leaving tins of cookies on my porch, the next week a loaf of bread, and the next a cake, the shorthand of love. He has been crafting a new alphabet for me. He sits, planting flowers so that the earth can reach my window again. He thinks my house turned gray. From age, from abandonment, he has the imagination for that. He thinks he can keep cutting at memories until they unfurl into paper snowflakes. Give the ghosts a sheet and a pair of scissors to make me laugh. I caught him trying to get the sun and the moon to visit me, trying to show me what happens when the warm embraces the cold. He wants me to try out gravity again. But I haven't written a love poem in 6 months. That is half of a year. He doesn't know how many of the burns on my fingertips are from begging candles to stay alive, as I try to tackle all of my focus in one place without making a sound. He doesn't understand I don't have a gravestone from which to watch storms punish it, only ash the world still thinks is snow. When I was as certain as him, I bribed the sky to stay awake during the night, for her to just have a dream about pressing flowers into cassette cases. He doesn't know about becoming someone's artist, dropping off baskets of homemade ideas, how someone can become a franchise, how if you pump enough blood to the same place, that place by definition is your heart. He's never changed his sheets in hope that it could change his nightmares. I hear him outside now, at the opening of morning, after all of nature banged on the front and back door, asking if I'm still here, collecting bets they've all taken on me. He just finds his way to the step and starts reading aloud again, wondering if I can hear him. Thanks, guys. The second and last poem is called Sensitivity, which I wrote upstairs during a body electric session. Okay. I think I saw Sensitivity in a treehouse once. She rereads the same books in the same order on the same nights. They have all of the jokes that make her laugh, all of the triggers she has memorized, sucked venom out of. Sensitivity is made out of bookends. She sleeps on a thin Japanese futon, a fitted sheet as a blanket, left behind from the last feeling that made it out. She lights a candle she's been saving, since she never truly knows which night will be her last. But at least she has the tree, the trunk, a rounded thing of nature in the middle of the room, making a pirouette of the corners, and the mailbox that gets stuffed with leaves, letters she can read like palms. Sensitivity is being stalked. That is to say, she knows the reason she let the wooden ladder rot, since the moment it collapsed, she couldn't leave and no one else could come in. The house became the closest thing she had to the word safe. She heard it, the word, crawl around one night like a mouse. She spent the blue of dawn singing him memories turned to myths, better than keeping them cautionary tales. The mouse named Safe is gone in the morning. It's his turn next. Thanks, guys. And next up is the one and only Zelda.
Hello.
I like work here, so I'm like used to doing this for other people. But yeah, I'm Zelda. I'm gonna read 3 poems, and yeah, this first one is called Tinder Bio. It's a pretty sad poem, actually. Anyways, okay, Tinder Bio. This opening line used to read, "I'm a girl, sorry. I'm a boy, maybe. Only I'm no longer sorry. I've got a petunia tattoo over my heart for my mom, who is dead, who never knew me to be a girl. I've got 3 brothers, all big, who I'm not allowing to ever die. I've got a lot of dark-haired ex-girlfriends, which means, whoops, I've got a type. I was 13 when it happened. My mom, I dyed my hair brown to look more like my brothers, who I thought looked more like her. Every day for 5 years, I woke up feeling everything. What I look for in a partner is someone who doesn't remind me of anyone, who doesn't smell like anything, doesn't move their hands when they talk, and doesn't smile, or have a mouth at all, actually, who doesn't exist except for when I remember them to, someone whom I can forget and forget easily." So that was Tinder Bio. This next one is called Queer Phenomenology because I took a philosophy class and I was like, yeah, I know about this, and being gay, so there you go. Queer Phenomenology. I don't know shit, and this poem is proof. Full of digressions, my ADHD, myself. Sine, the reference to some other meaning. I think. Sin, it could be that as well. The fall, Adam and Eve. To put it very clearly, I'm getting a trach shave later this year, I think. It's also up in the air. So I don't know if this is what I want exactly, but then again, when do I ever, so fuck it. And also, I think my family isn't going to be happy about it. Maybe that's an exaggeration. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Whatever. I know at least one thing. I know I'm probably never going to be a lady to them, to some others as well. Never going to be muse, eye candy for someone I want to be eye candy for, food for someone else's thought. Not that I want that exactly. Not that I want to be anything other than a little prettier, a little less in reference to others, and a little more in reference to myself. And I promise they're getting better at it, at me, at saying, oh, don't mind her, or I hope she doesn't get too political. And maybe this is pushing the envelope a little, telling you something you already know, but I have to tell you anyway. That when I say I, it is a phenomenon which has nothing to do with you and everything to do with me, because everything already seems to do with me what it wants. And this last poem is called Why I'm Not Dead, which is awesome. Anyways, Why I'm Not Dead. 1 year since my last poem. 1 year and what has changed. Is there a name, a word, something long in German, something I can't pronounce for the sound, the buzz of cities, the incessant, infernal buzzing which is there, this sound, even when I am not? And I haven't died yet. Can you believe that? I'm not dead. I'm gonna say it again. I'm not dead. Celebrate with me, like this is church. Are you clapping? Are you clapping? I'm going to ask again if you are clapping. And I'm also going to tell you how fucking happy I am to never have to go to church ever again. Is this my world or yours? It has always been yours. Nook and Cranny Dweller, my Instagram bio for nearly 3 years. I saw it at some art installation, and it's true. I've never not resided in the corner of the objects of my life. My experience, my life world, which is a word I do know, Lebenswelt, is bad, is defined negatively. I mean, it is not good. I'm trying to get you to understand why it is I'm not dead when I don't even understand it myself. Can I give you a few facts about myself? I've told this I don't know how many times to I don't know how many people. My mom is dead. My dad is I don't know where. My brother raised me. used to raise me, I should say, because I'm in college now, and everyone is so proud of me. Everyone is so happy for me. They want me to know, and I know how they feel because I feel it too. Some things are out of place, though, will always be. I don't understand how people can be rich and not hate themselves when they look at me, how they make their money and keep it. I used to have money. I used to have a Game Boy machine, a big one, like the one from Tron. My dad bought it for me, for himself, really. The other night, I had a dream my dad gave me this red and black sweater of his. We were looking at old photographs together, and in one photo, he was wearing said sweater. Maybe on a football field or something. I said I liked it. He went up to the attic, sifted through the cobwebs, got it for me. Which is important, at least to me, because he hated spiders, and also because I haven't seen my dad in 2 years, haven't spoken to him in a year and a half. How is it that I still dream of him? How is it I am still at all? Does it make sense? I'm asking, does it? I'm also asking, do you hear that ringing? That buzzing? Because I do, and it's killing me. Could you please make it stop? Could you end here on a high note? I'm asking if you could end here on a high note because I can't seem to. Thank you. We all did this. Okay, Celine.
Hi everyone, I'm Celine. First of all, I want to thank everyone who came out tonight to just be a supportive poetry community. And I wanted to thank all of the poets who read before me, because I know that even if we're all a little or a lot nervous, I think it's so important that we're continuing the very strong legacy Penn has of just having an incredible poetry community. So thank you guys. So I'll be reading 4 poems today, and the first one is called Variations on a Summer Day. 1. All my wishes are whispered, and I wish I could be a witness for the 21st century. I want to know what the forest was like. I will have to speak a forgotten language. 2. Consider this multi-dimensional world, and not just the stained glass windows, but the evolution that is invisible. P.S. That is not to say the world is void of loose ends. 3. Nature is theoretical, as in just a memory that we can never get back to. I am a spindle of twine, a clink of loose change, and most of all, I have surpassed this genesis you speak of. We live for tomorrow like this is nothing. 4. This nothingness unattainable. How cruel is the unattainable? Like water disguised as refuge. Cloud 9 is really hell. I just thought you should know. 5. It is the summer of pretending like Baudrillard and Foucault matter, and like we could ever transcend reality. 6. Nature and afterthought, the trees and bugs and dirt, only the fraying edges of an otherwise clear and brutal snapshot. 7. I want the trees to sprout out, and to uproot themselves in a violent, cathartic way where I can nestle in the comfort of the earthy roots. This next poem is called Post-Alveolar. Post-Alveolar. When you told me words laid out on parchment can tell the entire history of you, which could not scare me any more. I lived an unlivable life. Did you know humans say like on account of the leap of faith we take when starting sentences? There's something beautiful about cloaked convictions we discover along the way. How nothing is concrete, but history repeats itself, and no one wants to be Oedipus, so I lose my voice. This third poem is called Revolutionaries. We burned off our fingerprints on the kitchen stove. We were in a secret covenant involving blue-eyed, blonde-haired idolatry and hated ourselves for it. We grew up to fill the cliches expected by a white girl who just doesn't understand, whose name begins with A and ends with of the free. Our lunchboxes we abandoned on the playground, just like the tongue and touch of our mothers and their mothers. We take a long time, sometimes forever, to regrow our ashed whorls and arches. To go to the lost and found and find mother's kimbap has been rolled into a full circle that we come to as we march towards this justice for all that escapes our lips at approximately 8 a.m. on weekdays. We hate to make food a metaphor for ourselves, our duties, but I just need to know I can find my way back. And then the very last poem for today is called How I Got Disowned. 1. The word time tattooed on my wrist. At 19, you fall in fearful love with paradox, such crisp lines and such cruelty. Paradox. Time is the vaccine against every illness, but also an illness swallowing oneself whole. Time is the orchestrator of mass burials and also God's finger pads on the scale of judgment. Footnote. Collecting habits against humanity, waves roaring for the moon's nightly seduction, mission trips to cure the perceived incurable, digital clock blaring numbing rhythm, wondering what currency sustains love, text message politics, the last time I was tucked in goodnight, Californian state legislators failing a bill to save the Golden Gate Bridge jumpers, an abortion. 2. Peaches cut for breakfast, uneaten. At 16, you crack in every which way, and yes, no pressure, no diamonds, but your heart is neither jagged nor carbon nor predestined for worthiness. Persisting in poetry, I discover plain English. Smooth the edges of this particular rock until my thighs shiver. Uncover adages such as, I'm scared of the space I take up, such as, my house is not a home, such as, I wish. Footnote. Korean expressions of love riddled in cliche and chained blank space. Day terrors in light of mother becoming daughter and daughter becoming mother. Clawing for self-inflicted severance. Daydreaming end-of-war fantasies. Now a ghost to my baby sister, a zero-calorie telsum. Caverns to fill with repentance and cigarettes. The will to ask, can you hear a heartbreak via telephone?
All right, I'm just going to wrap it up quick, but with the mic. That was so good. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I cried and I laughed. And there's a lot of really great stuff going on at Writer's House. I'm assuming everyone's on the mailing list, but there's stuff tomorrow, the next day, every other day. You don't want to miss it. There are writing groups that are happening here that you can sign up for. Don't miss out on all the stuff that's happening here. This is obvious. This was just amazing, and I'm so grateful. And thank you to everyone for coming. And that's all. That's all the feelings we have for tonight. Thank you. Oh, you guys are all so good. Oh my God, that was so good. Oh my God, you guys are so good.
Lady, 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 lady. No, you see the confidence, believe me, I am wavy. I need something deeper, money does not stimulate me. Whether you got mansions or got diamonds in your AP. Drama, 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 drama. Please don't tell my mama I've been smoking marijuana. Talk pina coladas, getting loose in the Bahamas. Look at me now, I got a bitch, her name is Karma. I was moving wild, but now I'm calmer. We was on the front line listening to